Good morning, everybody. I hope we are all doing very, very well. Today is Saturday, the 22nd of June, which actually marks me at 11 weeks out today, which is exciting. Today, I've got a very, very good day planned. Lovely Saturday of work. I've got check-in this morning, so I'll take you through my check-in. Obviously, that's my check-in with AJ. And then I've got a leg day. And I'm buzzing, so going to take you through the day today, give you a little bit more of an update on the process, and hopefully give you some more helpful advice and insight along the way. So yeah, stay tuned for the video, and thank you so much as always for following along. Sorry that I haven't given a huge amount of an update since the check-in clips from earlier, but it's been a little bit of a busy morning of work just with consoles, with check-ins, with things to do. But I did want to give you a little bit of an update on my check-in this morning and where I'm at. So very, very happy with how things are moving forward. I was at a new low today of 118.6, which is very exciting. Definitely looking tighter, feeling good, everything is moving forwards, and honestly it's kind of as simple as that. And that's what most of the weeks are generally like on prep. I do obviously go into a lot more detail on like the day-to-day and how I'm feeling, any changes, which we actually haven't made any changes in a really long time, but I do go through all of that, especially training related adjustments, which of course are monitored a little bit more carefully. I go through all of that on my MBW log, so do make sure to check that out if you want to see more of the day-by-day process. But I am just coming round to my pre-workout meal now, so I'm just prepping the pre-meals for myself and AJ. AJ's actually training arms today, but I've got legs, and then we're going to actually get linked back up from the next session. But prepping the meals now, me and you guys now have seen most of my meals a couple of times, so I don't want to bore you with the full day of eating every single time I film a vlog. Unless you want to see it, let me know and I can obviously show you all of that, but I'll probably just take you through my training day for you for today. Actually maybe talk you through a little bit of my session as well. I'll do some voiceover bits just to kind of guide you through what these sessions are looking like for me now at this point. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'll prep the food now and I will catch up with you guys at my pre-workout meal. I do apologise that I did not properly film my pre-workout meal, so I'm going to talk you through it now. So I had 50 grams of rice, 100 grams broccoli, 50 grams of mushrooms, 100 grams of chicken. Give that a bit of a chop, mix it all up with a little bit of teriyaki marinade, and then I pair that with 35 grams of kimchi and 20 grams of dark chocolate. So I obviously eat that at home, have my coffee, have my pump pre, focus pre, which at the moment I'm having HR Labs blow up, and then we head to the gym. So I'm going to actually walk you through this session a little bit just to give you guys an insight on what these sessions are looking like for me at the moment. So this was a leg day. This is my slightly more quad dominant leg day. So in this session I have a more quad focused leg press, I have a squat pattern which I'll guide you through what I do there, but we start off the session with adductors, Always start off my leg sessions with a set of adductors, one to prioritize a good amount of adductor work and also just to get me nice and warm headed into the rest of the session. I did actually do some abs before this as well, so I always do 3 sets of abs at the start of my leg sessions too. Then move on to a seated hamstring curl. So we do the prime seated ham here. I have 2 sets on this. I do the first set in setting 5 and the second set on setting 3. That's just to make sure that second set drops off a little bit in the short, just so that I can get those reps fully short when my hamstrings are fatigued at that point. So when you've got, you know, access to pieces of kit like the prime kit, you can use them. Doesn't mean that if you don't have the prime kit you can't still take good sets. It's just good to be able to, you know, use those resistance profiles when you can do, if they're obviously going to help you in the session. So those are the first 2 isolation bits out of the way. Then we move on to leg press, which I actually do first now. So previously I was doing Smith squats and then the Arsenal top banded leg press. Now I do this first. I've removed the Smith squats because I was getting a lot of aggro through my lower back just as I was starting to get lighter and leaner, losing more body fat around my hips. So we pulled that out. I actually leg pressed first because it's a nice safe movement where I can get some really good strong work in. I love the top banded leg press here as well, just because it locks me in nicely. I don't know if I'll use this throughout the whole of prep. I'll probably pull the top band out at some point, but for now this feels great. It's solid. The top band also means I don't have to put a load of plates on it, which also saves me a good amount of energy and strength obviously during the session. So then after the leg press, this is where I now do a hack squat. This is literally my second rotation doing this. I'm just doing a very, very controlled set. I'm not really trying to do anything crazy, load it up much. You can see I've literally got 1.5 plates on here. I did a nice controlled set for 10 reps, and this feels really good for now. Obviously, if I feel as though I'm not getting a lot out of it, or if it's taking more out of me than, like I say, I'm gaining, then we may probably just do 2 sets of leg press. But I like doing a squat pattern. I want to keep a squat pattern in place, and if I can keep this feeling safe, then I definitely want to do it. So for now, this feels good. I've obviously got 2 platforms underneath my feet because I am incredibly short, and if I didn't have those there, I just basically bottom out. So this is one of those movements where, again, I have to just set things up to get me locked in as best as possible. And then following on from there, we just finished off the session with some leg extensions. So a couple of sets here. The leg press and the hack were just 1 set, whereas then here I move on, I do 2 sets here. Same kind of principle as with the seated hams. So set 1, setting 5, set 2, setting 3, just to help me get my quads short, as that is obviously the goal with the leg extension, but especially at the end of the session as well. It's going to be pretty challenging when your quads are super tired. So making sure that you, 1, select an appropriate load, but also that you use those resistance profiles when you can do, it definitely helps. And then to just finish off the main bulk of the work, I have a set of split squats. Just the 1 set here, but 1 set is enough to absolutely bury you when you take the work all the way there. So we finish off with those, and then I actually do 3 sets of side laterals just to add in some more lateral work for my side delts because they can recover from it, and then 3 sets of calves, and that is the session done. Obviously wrapping up with some posing rounds to get that practice in, and then I have my post-workout meal once I am nice and settled, and I'm obviously back down to a nice resting heart rate and in a good position to digest that meal. So I've got my post-workout here, which is 50 grams of cream of rice. I think this is the custard cream, and then 30 grams of the cereal milk whey with 50 grams of, 100 grams of frozen raspberries. I will just reverse myself back from my usual forward driving position so that I can actually fit in the frame. But we are now in the car. Post-workout meal has been eaten, and now we drive home. I have just 2 meals left. The
2 meals that you've seen. I didn't actually show you my intro, which was 25 grams of cyclic dextrin, 10 grams of EAAs, 1 serving of EAAs, and 5 grams of creatine. But the 2 meals that I have shown you, and inclusive of my intro, well, they're the only meals that have like direct carbs in them on my training days. That is where I direct most, or all I should say, of my carbohydrates around the training window, because that is where I need it. That is where I need the food in order to keep my performance in the best spot possible, prioritize my training, prioritize my recovery, which is literally the most important thing. And I honestly think that it drives away food focus more, because I'm pretty smashed around the sessions anyway, so I hardly even notice if I'm hungry or not, especially like after training, like these last 2 meals that I have that are like protein, fruit, veg, and then obviously fats. But I don't even notice that I'm hungry, or I don't feel hungry, because I'm so smashed from training it anyway. I think that when you try to, you know, drive food or save your food or save all your carbs for certain meals where you can sit and fixate on them, I think it really drives up food focus, and that actually makes the hunger worse. Whereas when you actually just think about yourself as a performance athlete and think, I'm eating to fuel my performance. You know, yes, obviously your physique goals tie in with that, but your performance is relative to your physique goals. And I think that actually makes the prep, makes the deficit so much easier. Like, try not to almost like save your food, especially if you're like tracking your macros. And this is why I'm a huge believer in, you know, not just tracking macros. It's about how you structure your meals, you know, and making sure that even if you are tracking your macros, you have awareness of how you structure that out in order to, yes, aid satiety, but also to make sure that you are fueling performance well. And of course, there's a balance of this with everyone. You know, like if you're at a point where you are maybe so hungry outside of training that it is affecting your adherence, then that's a problem, you know, and you do maybe need to look at shifting your carbs elsewhere. But when you're looking like purely from a performance side of things, and in my opinion actually helping reduce like food focus, I think it's the best thing to do when your food is obviously a little bit lower like mine is, and you can't really afford to have food around the training, carbs around the training window, and also have carbs in other meals. Anyway, that's a little bit of a breakdown on those meals for you guys. Like I say, I am about to head home now. I'm very ready to go home, chill out a little bit, which is always needed post legs. I've actually got the F1 quali for Spain to watch, so I'm really hoping it's actually decent today, because Spain is not the best circuit. But that again is like part of my switch off, is like I really enjoy following F1. I really enjoy following motorsport in general, and that is something that is like completely non-bodybuilding related that I get to enjoy and switch off from and look forward to as well, which is really important. So yeah, I'm gonna head home and watch that now. And then, to be honest guys, I know I've done a really rubbish job with this video. I'm gonna do a proper like wrap up and talk through tomorrow, because like I say, I want to talk through some things that I feel as though will be helpful for you to take on board with your prep when it comes to like prep hacks, and what my thoughts are on those, and some really good things that I can share to help you manage your prep and enjoy your prep or your diet, to be honest, as best as possible. So I look forward to catching up with you guys when we come around to that one.
Hello everyone, as promised, it is now Sunday, it's the next day. I'm taking some time to sit down so I can actually chat to you properly, following on from what was a very good day yesterday, but a very unexpected busy day, and then I just felt really mashed afterwards. So hopefully you've enjoyed kind of listening to me walk through my leg session at least, and give you a bit more of an insight on that one. As I said, I wanted to take some time to sit down properly and chat to you about something productive, something that I think could be actually helpful. I am sitting in a different location. This is AJ's office. He is out of the house at the moment. Unfortunately, he's not made a feature in this vlog, which when I was talking to him about it, he was actually quite upset. I think he secretly enjoys being in the vlogs, secretly likes the attention, but I'm borrowing his office because it's a nice setting in here. I like that he has the business things up here. We've also got, I don't know if you guys can see, his belt that he won when he won the overall in 2021. Got that framed as well, so we keep that up there too. And the treadmill, of course. Anyway, I want to get on to what I said I would talk about, which is kind of talking about prep hacks. And I actually alluded to this a little bit in my last vlog, I think, where I was talking about the baby spoons and the prep hacks with things like that, because you'll see a lot of content, and I used to follow a lot of content that was always like prep hacks and doing this to try and, you know, hack the hunger or hack the prep. And I think that there are certain things you can do to make prep more manageable, make it more enjoyable, but I don't think it's a good idea to fixate too much on like prep hacks. And basically, you're trying to kind of fight something that you can't fight. I think when you're thinking about these things that you're doing to maybe help you manage hunger, or, you know, maybe help you with satiety, I think that you have to view them as things that are helping, and maybe they are helping with management, enjoyment, but you can't avoid the fact that you're going to feel hungry. You're going to feel tired. You're going to feel draggy at points. You're going to feel a bit low maybe at points. I think the worst thing that you can do is try and fight it. One of the best prep hacks, genuinely, is to accept prep for what it is. Accept prep for the challenge that it is. The more that you try and fight it, the harder that you make it for yourself. Fighting a battle that you're not gonna win. I think if you constantly kind of try to, you know, fix the prep and make it easier and do this and that, like, it's just draining, and it's not setting you up to make the most of the prep. And especially in my opinion, I think it doesn't set you up to be in a good position post-show as well, because you've kind of just told yourself this whole time this has been so hard, and you're constantly fixating on trying to make things easier, that when the prep ends, it almost feels like this massive relief, and you've also built up all this negative energy, and you've been fighting this thing for such a long time and fixating on the end of it, and that then makes things really, really difficult to manage. Not to mention the fact that a lot of these like prep hack things do lead you down a bad path when it comes to potentially food focus and relationship with food, and just your relationship with bodybuilding, honestly, because you're not able to appreciate a prep for what it is. And I think that no matter what, when you go into a prep, you have to be appreciative of what it is, and you have to be embracing of that. So this is something that I'm choosing to do. This is something that I know is going to be challenging, but I'm ready to embrace the challenges. But this is not me saying like crack on with it, like I'm super hard and I don't deal with like any down moments, because like we're all human. We all know how it feels to be hungry. We all know how it feels to be tired. It's just a case of how you kind of view it, because there are still things that you can do to like manage your prep. But I think that's exactly, like I say, that's how you view it, is you learn how to manage things better, to make the process smooth, to make the process enjoyable, even in the challenging moments, rather than trying to battle them. I'm gonna take you guys through like just a couple of things that I think, or like at least I find to be really, really helpful when it comes to, you know, managing the prep a little bit better and managing the inevitable side effects that you will get when you are pursuing a long phase of fat loss. And I'm gonna do a podcast where I actually talk about this in full depth, because not everyone wants to sit and hear me chat for 40 minutes on a YouTube video, and I can very easily talk about these things for hours on end. So I will go through them in more detail on a podcast episode, but just a couple of things to mention. So the first thing above anything else, and I've already talked about this, is your routine. So the more consistent that you keep your routine, the easier everything will be to manage. So starting at the base point of just even getting good sleep. If you get good sleep, your energy will be better. You know, you will feel fresher on the day to day. You will be able to perform better, which, you know, makes training more enjoyable. You're going to be able to obviously then manage your fatigue better. You're going to be able to genuinely manage your hunger better, because if your sleep is down, your ghrelin's going to be up and you're going to be even more hungry than you naturally would be. So actually getting good sleep will help you with hunger management. It's also going to help you with energy management, mood management, all of these things that then play in a massive role with stress will play a massive role with your mood, and these are all things, like I say, they're all linked. But getting good sleep, keeping a good routine, massive part of that. Another thing that then comes in part with your routine is how you lay out your meals across the day. Making sure that you are actually consistent with your meal timings as much as you can be. That will help you with, again, managing hunger and satiety. Just like in an off season, you know, if you miss a meal timing and you push a meal on, like, you just can't eat. The opposite is obviously true in a prep, where if you're pushing your meals on, you get irritable with hunger because your body is going to be so used to eating at a set time that if you were then pushing it even longer, or it's always up and down, your hunger is going to be all over the place, and that makes that really, really difficult for you to then manage in comparison, because, as I say, you are going to be hungry, but you can manage that well through keeping good meal timings. That's one part of it. Another couple of things that I think really help you with managing your hunger and also managing your relationship with food are being mindful of the food focus you create, and also making your meals nice, which I know you're going to sound like they contradict each other, but they really, really don't. Making your meals nice is about the meals that you have in your plan, actually putting effort into them, actually making your meal plan enjoyable, because I think something that a lot of people struggle with in a prep setting is that they create more food focus on like other foods and other things because they don't enjoy their meal plan, you know, like they don't look forward to their meals. Like, don't get me wrong, like I say, you will be probably hungry from those meals in terms of the caloric intake that's coming in from them, but they should be enjoyable. There's a huge difference between just having like plain chicken breast and boiled green beans versus like having a seasoned chicken breast with a nice mixture of vegetables and maybe like adding some pepper on that, accompanying it with like some kimchi or some sauerkraut, or whatever it may be, like actually putting effort into that and like putting it on the pan or mixing it into a stir fry rather than just having them plain separate things. Like, there are things you can do to make your meals nice, and I think that's really important so that you actually enjoy your food through the prep, because it's okay to enjoy food. You know, like I think a lot of bodybuilders think that they can't enjoy food, and they shouldn't, but you should enjoy your meals. I think it's good. It's a good thing to actually enjoy food, but don't be afraid of actually like putting some effort into it so that you look forward to your food on a day-to-day basis and you enjoy that. It means that you're not constantly then fixating on what you can't have and looking at all these other foods, and that is where the food focus becomes a problem. Be very, very mindful of the food focus you create. There's a difference between making meals nice and having a high food focus, because you can make the meals nice, but driving high food focus is when you're like spending hours like scrolling through TikTok, scrolling through your explore page, looking at food that, let's be honest, like you can't have and you're not gonna have, you know, like you're not gonna be eating cookies, pizza, cakes, whatever it is that you're looking at, and you're just looking at that and driving up your food focus really high. And this is where people then don't understand the difference between physical hunger, like physiological hunger, and psychological hunger, and they drive that psychological hunger so high that it just makes it so hard for you to manage basis, and it sets you up in a really bad position post-show, because all you're thinking about post-show is, I can't wait to eat this and eat that and eat this, and I'm gonna go to this restaurant and I've been looking at this menu. Like, just take a step back and ask yourself if that is actually helpful. Is this actually helping me staring at loads of food and watching all these food channels? Like, each to their own, but in my opinion, I don't think that that is really going to be setting you up for being in a good headspace, creating a good relationship with food throughout your prep and after your prep as well. And things like going to the supermarket, walking up and down the aisles, staring at, again, foods that you can't have, or you're choosing not to have. I think that's really important, like you're choosing not to have these things, and just be like, okay, is this actually good for me? The reason why I also talk about a lot of these things is because I've struggled with these things in the past, and before my first prep I did a lot of diets, and in those diets I used to have really high food focus. I used to look at food menus, I used to spend hours on my Instagram explore page was just food. Like, take a look at your Instagram explore page, and if you've just got food on there, you probably need to fix that, because it's probably, like I say, not great for your relationship with food. But I've been there and it did not
help me at all. It actually made things a lot worse because I was trying to, again, fight something that I was never going to be able to win, and something that I've chosen to do. Like, I've chosen this fight, you know. So I think that just having the acceptance of what you're doing and not trying to battle it in all these different ways that are probably going to negatively affect your relationship with bodybuilding, negatively affect your relationship with food, is just really important. So just a couple of things to keep in mind, but I am going to talk about these things probably in more detail on a podcast, so stay tuned for that episode if you do want to hear me talk about that a little bit more. But I am actually going to cap off this vlog episode here, and I think you've probably heard enough of me by now. Thank you so much for watching along. I did give you guys a little bit of a physique update at the start. Yeah, I'm actually into 10 weeks as of today, which is kind of cool. We're super happy with where things are at. Like, we've not made changes, like I say, in a really long time. Everything is ticking along as is. The rate of loss is great. I'm taking the visual steps forward that we need to. The biggest thing for me is just accepting that because I just think I want to get as lean as I can possibly get, and I can get leaner and I can do more, but it's not the goal. And especially for figure, you know, if you're doing a category where you have set criteria to meet, you're not doing bodybuilding, the goal is not to get as shredded as possible. And you also always have to take that into context with the amount of muscle you have, muscle maturity that you've got as well. So I'm just continually reminding myself of that, but obviously AJ reminds me of that every single week, and that is why I don't prep myself and why I need an external eye to be able to look at my shots and to be able to look at the process and go, no, this is what we need to do in order for you to, one, be productive over this next week, but also in the grand scheme of the prep with where we need to be body composition wise and how we need to look to be competitive and as competitive as possible. That's what we need to do, and I need somebody to do that for me. I could not self-coach, and I'm quite happy to hold my hands up and say that, because I benefit from having somebody else to handle my process, to see it from an external perspective, and so that I can just be an athlete as well, which is really important, so I don't have to, you know, think about managing my own process alongside also managing my athletes. So when I can just be an athlete, it makes me a better athlete, it makes me a better coach too. I will cap off the video here for you guys. Yeah, thank you so much for making it to the end of the video if you have made it this far. Thank you for all the support from everyone. It means the world. Even just like anyone who's watching this, I've had a few messages from people saying they've been watching the videos, and yeah, it's amazing. So yeah, thank you. I hope it's been helpful and it continues to be helpful. And yeah, like, subscribe, share, all that amazing stuff, and I'll catch you in the next one.